Right, so I've got quite a lot of work to do here. I've been working for a few hours. I'm just having a coffee. Now this bit here is an undeveloped piece of land that when I developed the demo, because I was having problems with the ship, and what happened was where's that camera there anyway? Bizarre. When I was developing the demo anyway, I was having troubles with the ship, so what I did instead was obviously I integrated this kind of cableway system. Now the thing about the cableway system is obviously it doesn't come in at the key, it comes in next to the key, and you know, you've got to try and make your way down to it, which is fair enough. I mean, you know, there's a couple of hazards on the way, but including falling off the edge, which can happen, so just something to bear in mind. Anyway, the whole thing was though that Malin kind of met you here, because this is where you were supposed to get off the ship and where you were supposed to reboard the ship again. But of course, instead of reboarding the ship, even though it comes in eventually, you come in over here, and if you want to go home, you just go home via the cable car. So this is the point where we have to kind of populate this and make it so that you know where you're supposed to go next. That's my clock chiming 12, by the way. I have a chiming clock. I'm so happy. By the way, to anyone out there, please feel free to ask questions. Link and subscribe if there is such a thing on whatever you're watching this on. And I am going to get busy. Right, so. Oh, that's nice. Right then, so first things first, I need to go down to my blueprints. And in here I should have a lamp. Here we are, outdoor lamp, oil based. So I'm going to drop one around about there and turn my lighting back on. Reason being that obviously I want to be able to see. Now, I've got a few options in this, but most of them I'm not really that interested in. I'm interested in my light intensity though. Obviously, as you can see, that's quite intense. Probably more intense than I mean it to be. Let's see, 7,500. Do I want flies? Let's have a look. The thing about flies is they kind of mute the light quite nicely as well, and add a little glow to it, which I rather like. Hopefully they won't slow the thing down too much. Okay, so I'm going to take this and probably move it over here just a wee bit. I'm going to need a couple of these, I suspect. There's one. And then probably another one over here, because these have just literally been kind of placed here. The whole purpose is that, you know, they're oil lamps to make your job a little bit easier. Okay, so light intensity on this, let's say 8400, so nice and bright. And again, a few flies. There we are. Okay, so that way we've got some, you know, basic kind of illumination going on, which is what I needed. Okay, now we'll continue this in a minute, but what I need is to make sure that the player coming off here can see these rocks, and as you can see, the light on them is just fine. I think I'll make a kind of a walk tunnel, that way they know exactly where they're supposed to be. There we are. So normally I wouldn't overdo lighting like this, but I think it's kind of important just for the guidance of the player. Okay, as they come in, it's this kind of nice warm light, showing them exactly where they need to go. Now, this part here, let's just unlight it again. So unlit. I don't tend to use hotkeys very often, and I do talk a lot, even if there's no one here. And the reason is because I just like to talk to myself. Sad, really. Okay, so content. A few things I need here. Okay, so I've got some pier bases, which are probably going to be ideal for what I need over here. Okay, because remember, we want Malin to come and meet us, so I'll put pier base 5 down, which is huge. Look at the size of that. Rotate it. Now I'm going to rotate this using angle snap, simply because I might want things to snap to it later. There we go. And I'm going to bring this down so that it's kind of coming out here. I'm not so interested in having it looking like a clean piece of geometry. I want it to be a bit raggedy and buried and broken, but just give us a nice flat area to kind of work from, which is ideal. Okay, now let's have a look at how it looks on lit. Yeah, that's fine. It's giving it just the right kind of coloration I need. Okay, let's get back to this. Okay, so we are assuming that Malin is going to be... let me see. So I've got these lights here. Let's look at lit again. I think I can move this one now. Okay, that works. Now I've got some metal fences here, which I'm probably going to use as well. Again, the whole idea of this isn't really to corral the player, but to give them the feeling of being corralled. If the player's corralled, then it makes our job a little bit easier. There we go. Yeah. Right, let's turn this around. 180. Nice. The water's all doing exactly what I wanted to do, which is look watery. Hats off to Dumpster Fire Productions. Without you guys, this project would have been a lot harder. Also, many regards, even though they're probably not going to listen to this ever, to Chris Whittingham, who has been incredibly supportive of this project. Bless his little heart. You know, it's people like that that make things so much nicer. Right. People often ask me, you know, what's your development process? It's basically make it look right. That's all there is to this. If it looks right, you've won half the battle. Okay, so I can see that we have this, which is cool. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this out. Just have it come down a bit. So it's just kind of hanging down a bit there. And then let's see what I've got here that I can use. You see, I like to use things wherever possible in places that they don't need to be used. I think it makes them more interesting. So the only problem with this is I've got to be careful, because see that? So it must have an end on it. Okay, so that's sagging down nicely. And then over here I've got these rather nice pipes. And I do like a nice pipe. So the good thing is that this is all part of the key as well. So if I hide key, that all vanishes. See? Good chum of mine the other day I posted up a Peter Gabriel from 1978 clip, and goddamn, I've had that song stuck in my head now for far too long. Far too long. Right, so we have this pipe up here, quite long, which is ideal. What's it for? Who knows? Who cares? I don't care. It's just going to do something. So I'm going to get this SM pipe corner and replace it. I do this because it just adds interest to my scene, which is essential, in my opinion. By the way, if you're not sure what I'm doing, it's not a tutorial, so sorry. You should have been here many years ago when 3D Palace did the tutorials. I was just chatting to Bertie and Alan about that. Okay, that works. Now, because I've got that coming up, the pipe should be okay. What I'm going to do is just drag a couple of copies of it, because if you've got one, why not have loads? That's the general thing, isn't it? So there we go, there's another one. Give us a couple of these. 1, 2, like that, and Control W. I'll just make another copy. I'm making another copy because I bet it would probably work quite well pointing this way. See? Then I'm going to sink it into this rock. And it's great because what's the purpose of these pipes? Well, the thing is, I was watching a YouTube documentary yesterday, and it was about the creation of the game GoldenEye. By the way, feel free to say hello in channel if you like. So, hello anyone. There we go. Yeah, so I was watching the development of GoldenEye back in the day. And the team that developed GoldenEye were really, really new. You know, 8 out of the 10 of them had never developed a video game before. So they developed things pretty much in a way that was kind of non-intuitive to modern game developers, because they weren't pressing themselves for time, they weren't heavily optimizing. What they were doing was they were basically building these entire ornate sets and then building the story around them. And that's kind of what I've been doing all along, because one, okay, yes, I am an inexperienced solo game developer, but also two, you know, it makes sense to me, because then you end up with so much more stuff to do, whether it be exploration or whatever. So that's kind of why I came along in this direction. Well, anyway, I was really quite interested in it, simply because like their process really seems to work very, very well. Okay, now I've got to be careful here, because I don't think there's enough lighting in my scene yet. I'm just going to move the sun up. Okay, so that will give me a little bit more light over here, because I just want to see if I can do this without right. Streaming method on this, we'll switch that to always loaded just for the minute. Okay, it's not good for the system, but there we are. I just want to make sure I can get down from here without being killed, because that's really, really important. The only problem is I don't have my feckin' torch over here, do I? So it's aggravating. Is there a spare one down here? There probably isn't anymore. I'll have a look. Oh my word, I have saved myself some bother. Okay, so because without the torch, you know, you can't see shit. There's no point having it down at the key, because to get to the key you need the torch. Right, so we're going to give them an option if they haven't already grabbed a torch. How the hell did they get here though? Because it's very, very hard indeed to survive the cliff top up there if you haven't actually got a torch. Because there's a couple of things that are going to probably end your existence. Right. Now I'm going to go back to lit and just adjust this back down again. Probably say about there, because that's about the type of day that we had. And play from here. Okay, I'll just quickly grab this flashlight, these batteries. Flashlight, I'm doing it myself now. I remember when I first saw the word flashlight in a goddamn Dr. Zeus book, and I was like, what's a flashlight? Okay, now this way is going to have to be handheld more than it is, certainly, because at the moment that is just a lethal flipping fall to death. And the stairs are over here, so I need to really work on that. Pardon me. Okay, so let's assume this is the area we're going to use to get Dune. I do already have some steps here that I could use. The question is, should I, or should I use one of my old wooden sets that I've got? Decisions, decisions, decisions. The only thing is, I do need to be down here, so let's see what steps I've got. I've probably got some steps I can use. Right, so I've got these ancient temple ones, which are probably going to be okay. Depending on a few things. Let me just move this lamp out of the way, because I don't need it there. Now I do like these Mega Scans old steps. Let me just check they've got a collision. They have not got a collision. So I'll just pass through those anyway. I could build a collision, it's just do I want to. I also have some lighthouse stairs, which isn't really what I need, and a railing. I'll just wait for Unreal Engine to catch up. It says computing references, which is never a good sign. What else have I got? I've got these wooden stairs here, which are fun, don't get me wrong, but they don't fit in with my design ethic. It's always useful having a few different things to choose from though. Like this stair simple here that I worked on ages ago is pretty fun. Right, let's see. Decisions, man. So if I was to use something like these ones, as you can see there is an issue because they're not designed for this kind of mad surface. Okay, so I think what's probably going to be best is I'm just going to use some rock. And the rock I will use for this is probably going to be the same one that I used over here because it's a good all-purpose rock. Here we go. A couple of them here. By the way, don't worry if you literally have no idea what I'm doing. Seen that, by the way? Yeah, man. Okay, let's get the material on this, because I need to adjust it. So, here it is, rock material. This was actually a really complicated material I made ages ago. I didn't have a use for it at the time, so I might as well use it now. So, moss rock material, that's its parent. How much? So I can increase or decrease the amount. One's probably ideal. Too much tiling going on at the top there. So let's go to our moss rock material, which is my root. And this is back when I never used to bloody comment anything, unfortunately. Right, we need this layer moss 1. So layer moss 1 is there. God, make material attributes. I love working with attributes, I really do. Now here's my texture coordinates. 60, 0.2, 0.2. Let's try that instead. Save. I'll probably use more of these kind of instanced materials. This is really useful though for if I want to, you know, project moss and stuff on things. Now what we will notice is, unfortunately, that I appear to have used a lot of shaders that used this shite, which may in turn make a lot of things look like bollocks. So let's have a look. It's my own lazy fault, really. Right, let's see. So, what's it done with this? I very much doubt it's made it look significantly great, but we'll have a look. Still compiling. There, it's done. Best way to do it is fly out and have a look around. Curiously enough, it hasn't actually ruined it too much. Because once things are lit, it doesn't really make much of a bloody difference. Just more mottling. You know what, I don't actually mind this too much, which is bizarre. I really thought I would. Go figure. Unlit. By the way, if you're just watching this as some way of getting to sleep, wake the fuck up. Right, let's have a look at this little rock here. So now, if I reposition my rock, every time I reposition it, you see, it'll reposition where the moss is, which is kind of useful, and it's doing that on all of these as well. So it was quite a complicated material. Right, want to learn how to do it? Tough shit. I teach people for money now, baby. Money. Right, let's get this kind of pile step. Will this work as a piled step though? Yeah, I quite like that actually. It's done quite a good job of redoing it. Although if you look, this is far too low a detail now. Shit balls. Okay, back up you go. And now I'll wait very patiently. Give me a chance to check my emails. Hello emails. Right. Cool. Swinton? Have I just paid a bill? That I have. That's going to be annoying, because I don't have very much money. Let me check. Hopefully it's monthly and not yearly they've taken it out. Yeah, that's fine. Right, let's go back to this. See, where else do you see game developers furiously checking their banking details? Only on 3D Palace. Sorry, CG Pilots, Jesus, it's not 3D Palace at all anymore, is it? Well, that made no flipping difference, did it? All it did was put the tiling back on that rock. That's shit. Okay, so let's try it instead on 1-1. Oh, this is as exciting as it gets. Chris and his rocks. Recompile shaders. So while it's doing that, still going. Sometimes parts of this go very slowly. Other times parts of it just go ridiculously fast. This stair thing is actually causing me more pain in the arse than I thought it would. So I'm going to try and get this all done now. Right, there, that's better. See, it's not as tiled over there and over here. Yeah, I'll live with it. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so lit to unlit again. I'm going to leave that there for the moment. And this is the route that El Player O will take. So let's have a look up here. So what I'm doing at the minute is just creating a little cascade, simply because that's going to be useful to make a kind of path out of, like this. And then I can just kind of move them around. And the good thing is that because of this material that I'm using, I don't need to worry about the moss not being on top, because it's going to be. It's just the way these rocks are set up. So even though these rocks are going to look a bit weird and unconvincing in a way, in actual fact, these should act as a pretty good kind of boundary for the player. And then I can just jag off some bigger ones. Just to kind of give them a bit of gravity, as it were. Never underestimate the value of a decent rock asset, incidentally. When I first started out in my indie development, I made a point of getting as many decent bloody rocks as I could, because the thing is, it's like organics. You can kind of combine them and kit bash with them in so many exciting ways. And with a material like the one I'm using, people don't know that it's the same bloody rock over and over again. I mean, look, this one looks similar until I do that, and then it'll reposition all of its stuff. There we go, see? So now the texture looks completely different again. In time, I just want to block down here. It's really tricky because obviously it's a balancing act at the minute between making it too light and too dark down here. I don't want people to have an easy time of it, but I don't want them being killed because it's going to frustrate the player. You know, being told, well, do you want to complete the level again, or do you want to just, you know, fall asleep? Which is what the option is, basically. Okay, so that's giving us some nice big rocks. Now, look, that's repeating its pattern, but if I just turn it a bit, now it isn't, because the material is different because of the way it's placed on top of it. I love it when it does that. Okay, so now we should have the ability to walk down here. Let me just come over here. The only thing we don't have is lamps, so come back to my blueprints. So I keep all my useful ones here. Blueprint outdoor lamp. You notice my naming standards slip a lot. If you're doing game dev, I do encourage you not to let your naming standards slip. Just try and remember them. I know it's hard, it's a pain in the arse, but without that you're going to have a hell of a trial. There we go. And I'm not burning out the fuel on this one. I can do, you see, which is kind of handy, but I don't want to. Lit. Right, so this will now illuminate this area here. Good thing is that this will kind of really encourage the player then to go, ah, this is where I'm supposed to go, because you always guide the player with light wherever possible. Okay, unlit. You're just going to be careful because you don't want to lead them off a cliff, which is surprisingly easy and mean. Remember, we're game developers, not serial killers. Although there is a crossover, as my dear friends will tell you. Okay, I'm going to put this one on a rock simply because there isn't a straight enough piece for it. And so using a rock is a really good idea in this kind of instance. Means I've got a flat base now for this to kind of sit on. And it's fitting in with the general kind of overall look of this as well, which is good. Now then, make sure the rock isn't hovering, because a hanging rock is only good for a picnic. And if you got that reference, I love you. Fantastic film. I may watch it again later. Now just building a few kind of detail pieces here just to add some variation, and I'm just using kind of very freeform placement, and I'm thinking about how these rocks would stack as much as anything. Okay, so do give that some thought. Change my transform gizmo, because of course they're going to pile on top of each other. Okay, so now we get this path here, unlit to lit. Right. And I think what would be a good idea then is over here, I take my other lamp, because I'm going to need it to kind of show the player where to go. Again, we lead with lights until the player understands the navigation. And this is basically a return to level 1, so I need to do this the right way. Hello viewer, how are you? I do not know who you are, but please, if you want to say hello, and I will say hello to you as well, because I love you. You are good. Right, now I've got this lamp up here. I don't really need it up there, so I'm going to bring it down so that again it's only in the area that I need it to be. Okay, so the whole point is that kind of you came out all this way. Okay, you've came out on the gondola and stuff, which again, I was, you know, I'm not a big company, I'm not a lot of developers, but I was kind of influenced in that definitely by Half-Life, as so many people were, at the idea of just seeing things and being in there. Now, over here, we have this, so now, where this is, you see, because we have these signs, just make sure the player knows they can get down there. As you see, there's no more lamps here, which is a failing, so let's put a lamp here. We'll give it as much light as we can, at 8400. Check it on lit. Okay, so hopefully the player's going to know now to go down towards here. Change it again, unlit. Now where this is, what I could do is I can put a kind of a barrier here just to stop the player falling off the edge. So if I go to my blueprint and just see what I've got down here, see if I've got anything that's going to be suitable. There's old outdoor lamp, which doesn't exist anymore. Boat doors, eating projector, blah de blah de blah de blah de blah. Fence. So I'm just going to use, I don't know if I should use simple fence because this is at such an angle. I think what I might do instead is just use some of these assets that I created for it. And then I can use those to kind of differentiate between the two areas. So I can see at the minute these are a bit small. BP fence. Pop it there. Hit G so I can see where the bloody thing is. And rotate it. Yoink. Right, so pole mesh first. Let's take pole mesh D. And these were a pain, by the way, to kind of certainly to sort out at the time. Right, so scale. Right, so that's just the scale of the blueprint. Pole spacing, randomize bars, randomize poles. Scale. And I'll change this to 1.8 and this to 2.2 so we get some variation. And then I'm going to change the rotation minimum to 0 and the maximum to 90. That way we get more variation. And a bit of rotation on the X and Y, I think. So say minimum of -2, -2, -2. Okay, so that'll just give it some change. And then the location on this, we can offset it and offset the depth there. Okay, so it's just going to add some nice changes to this. Okay, so now what I can do is just move these around, and these things will hopefully act as a kind of a barrier. I'm not putting any actual fence posts in between them because I think that would just make it look silly. So what I'm doing is I'm just corralling the player, just using these. Almost as if there was a fence here, and now there isn't anymore. So just kind of still trying to tell a story wherever we can. And we can see that this is linked into the stairs over here, so that's cool. And we're getting enough variation in these that it's going to work out for us. Now you can see these are hovering. Hovering ain't no good. Let's close this out. Right. You'll notice how this is just twisting constantly as I place it down, which is what I wanted it to do. Plenty of nice variation on it. Now we don't want so much variation that it's haphazard, incidentally. Be very, very careful with that. Because if we become haphazard, it's not going to look realistic. Because again, I need to reiterate that lighthouse keepers and the Northern Lighthouse Association were incredibly cautious in what they did. You know, everything was built very, very carefully. So even these old kind of things here would have a purpose and be placed carefully. Now, I'll move this back up here. That way it's, you can see the lighting is now kind of in the right general area. Let's see if we get an overlap here, just, so that's good. Not quite, but just, so it leaves enough of a dark area. Okay, come out of this, just hit G, So now we can see that we're getting these posts here. That's cool. Now, let me have a look at my skylight intensity. I'm going to lighten that up just for the moment, just to make things a little bit more manageable, because it is very, very dark over here. 0.1 might be a little bit too shiny. 0.7, that's a bit better. And if necessary, I'll adjust the scale on these again. We'll see, because it is a little bit raw looking. So, to be honest, what I could do is like use the higher resolution texture as well. So I shall see. Okay, that looks good. Now I don't need too much other stuff here. Okay, simply because, you know, this is the area where we're meeting Malin. So, hello third viewer, I hope you're doing very, very well. So what I'm going to do is just have a look through my assets and work out what it is that might be useful here. By the way, Seaside Town was given away for free some time ago on the Epic Store, and it is a very good pack. It really is. You know, there's so many useful meshes that I didn't have to bloody build, and if you don't have to build them, honestly, it makes your life so much easier. It really does. I don't need the pier wall sewer entrance, awesome as it is. I don't think I need much actually. I think I just need Malin. Okay, so content. Turn off static mesh. My blueprints, and I need to make sure I've got the stuff I need. NPC interactive, here we are. Pop that there. So this is going to be, you know, who's welcoming you to the rock, but it's not going to be him, because it's not him basically. So we need to go to Malin. And Malin's pleased to see you, you see. So, materials. H1 is the one that I want. He's happy to see you. Hello. Okay, so now we have Malin here and he's pleased to see you. Let's, pardon me. Let's also add in his dialogue, because this is important. So, if I go down to my AC dialogue at the moment, we don't have a dialogue for him, so oops. Here's my dialogues here. Now this was the ones that I was just using in the demos, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is make a new folder. Dialogues, I'll make a new one for Malin. Now I'm going to need, what time is it? Christ, time flies when you're enjoying yourself, doesn't it? 6 viewers. Jesus, where did you guys come from? Hello. Okay, so project settings. That's not right, is it? I've forgotten what I was doing. Christ. Oh, yes, that's right. Window. Content browser 2. Now, the reason I've got Content Browser 2 is so that I can pull stuff out quicker. Okay, so I've got that up here. Now, in Malin, what I need to do is create a new data table for him. Now, I already have some data tables down here. It's dialogue fattener. So, my blueprints. NPC tools, and whatever's going on up there is very loud upstairs. I can hear thumping around and stuff. Right, so I'm just going to drag off Fattener 2 down to here and copy it. That way I've got a dialogue that I can use, and I'm going to delete that one. So I've got like a nice empty dialogue, and I'm going to call this dialogue now DT because it's a data table. Malin 1, okay, because that's exactly what it is. And wait, okay, now I need to do some duplication on this, so I'm going to go back to my original blueprint, which I had for this. So contents and character tools. No, that's my ABKs. Got a lot of stuff in here. BP, my NPC. Yeah, so it's in my old blueprints. Blueprints, my blueprints old. Swear to God, I'm going insane. NPC. There we go. So, alright. Of course, I remember now. I built this as part of another kit ages ago, and it's a little bit outdated. Never mind. So, my blueprints. Here we go. NPC. BP NPC. Should open it as a tab of this now. There it is. Okay. So be it. That's the old system I was using, you see. This is a test. This is a... Right, so that's working. Old NPC standees, Malin, annoyed and pleased and shit. Okay, where did I leave the data tables for this? Is the question. I know for a fact I've dumped them somewhere, so there's the old one. Here we are, dialogue.ui. Okay, so if I come down to my UI dialog now, I can transfer most of the contents of this to something else. So there it is. No. Oh, Jesus. Data, dialog main. There it is. So here's where the dialogues live. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and get rid of some of the parts. So here's Malin. Hello Malin, how are you? So this is your welcome in the speech. So add, and the row name on this is row 1, because that's where we come in. I'm not using a participant icon, so I'm using Captain Malin. Dialogue line text. So I can just strip that straight out of here. Player speaking, no. Line leads to choice, no. Lead to ID, so it will lead to the next ID, which is 2. Now if I go down, sound to play, yay. So I can just go there. I know this is the right one.
Young, welcome to the Raw. Your first time here. She's a beautiful and welcoming to you.
Okay, that's perfect. So that is playing it as it should be played. Now we'll check that the character is getting enough of everything. So play from here. And yeah, there's a lot of windows open. Okay, that doesn't look good because he's not letting me do nothing. Dialogue widget reference. Oh shit, he doesn't actually have any dialogue tied to him yet because I haven't activated anything. That would explain it. Okay, so if I come over here and go to my AC dialogue component, there it is. So I need another window, because of course I need another window. I mean, just in case I didn't have enough. Okay, so content, blah, 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 my blueprints. NPC system is here. Dialogues, Malin, DT Malin 1. Okay, so this value is the name attached to the NPC, and that is Captain Malin. And he comes in on dialogue entrance ID 1. So now, obviously I can't start it all the way over there, so play from here. Okay, so it's not playing the audio yet. We will get there. So, this is the thing. Play sound is on. I don't want any seconds. Okay, so save. Let's see how that looks.
Welcome to the world. Your first time here. She's a beautiful world.
Perf. Okay. Next. I need to start building back up this dialogue then. So I've got my old one here and I've got my new one. So let's use my new one. Because by doing this it'll lead into all the various different dialogues. So I'll just duplicate my table and change this table name to 2. I'll just close down the thing that I've done there. Okay, now I know that this is leading on to here. So this is his second line. There's quite a lot of text here. And again we need C2L2, which is here. There's C2L2, play sound, yes. Lead to ID 3. Sorry if this seems a bit boring, but this is actually how things are made. And then Control W. You see, it's so much easier doing it this way than it was in the previous one as well, which is good. I was going to have voices for all the characters, but to be quite honest, it's not actually that good a plan. Good lad. See you at the house. And the good thing is that I can now build kind of events and paths into the talks, which I didn't have before because I was using a much more basic kind of system. So that is help. That is a help. Now this is the last line here, so play sound. We're going to play that. And then Malin's probably going to vanish. So what we could do is we can literally trigger Malin to vanish, or we can do any other thing we want. I'll probably just do something. I haven't quite decided what yet. So I'll probably leave him there for the minute. Now, this is event numero 3. Good lad, see you at the house. Last line in dialogue, yes. So he doesn't go anywhere else after this. Okay, so it's just going to finish with good lad, see you at the house. And it's hoose because the actor's Scottish, the character's Scottish. Let's see how it looks.
Welcome to the road. Your first time here. She's a beautiful woman.
Okay, so we're not getting a follow-on on 1. Why aren't we getting a follow-on on 1? 1 should lead to 2. Okay, 2's correctly labelled, 3's correctly labelled, so it should go straight on. So we don't want a choice. So why isn't it following on like it should? Let's have a look. See this? This is the joy of game dev, my darlings. Who knows what crazy things it's going to do next?
Young. Welcome to the Rock. Your first time here. She's a beautiful welcome.
Okay. Okay, so see if I can work out what's gone wrong here. So Captain Malin, Captain Malin, Captain Malin, those are all correct. Players not speaking, line lead to choice no choices, just leads straight to dialogue ID 2, and that leads to 3, wait, that leads to 3, that doesn't lead to anything, it's the last line, that isn't. Delay, show dialogue bubble, no, play sound, yes, dialogue participant, plays animation, no. Dialogue condition check function name, entrance ID to swap to, data table swap to. I don't need to swap any of these really. Trixie Wixie. Okay, because obviously this isn't working the way I want it to, because it's not passing on to the next one. Let me just check that the sailors are still working okay. I'll definitely put some choices in. Probably going to be easy that way anyway. So let's come over here. So add new row. It's going to be row 4. Speaker's name Bill. Old Bill Fisher. Dialogue text. Thank you, Captain. It was quite the journey, leading to ID 2. Player is speaking. And I'll make another one as well. You can just say bugger all. And I think if you say bugger all, let's just have him ignore anything else. So Bill. Say nothing. So straight away we want you to get onto a friendly ebb with the captain. Player is speaking. Boink. This will lead straight to ID number 3. Okay, so get the torch, you're going to need it. Just keep the thing. Prime the pump. Etc, etc. Okay, so get the torch, you're going to need it. Thank you, Sasha, by the way. I hope your game's going well. Okay, get the torch, you're going to need it. Will lead to ID number 6. And an ID number 6, that will be Bill again. Who is the player? You. Okay, so we just have like, yep, I'm going to do that. That leads you to ID number 3. Okay, because there's not really a dialogue choice, is it? Got it, I'll get it done. Say nothing, that leads to dialogue 3 as well. Thank you, Captain, it was quite the journey, leads to 2. This one will lead to 2 dialogue responses, therefore, plus plus. These dialogue responses will be response texts 5. Option lead to ID. Oh right, this is just our response text. Thank you. Which leads to response text 4. Should swap dialogue tables? No, we just keep it the same way and keep the style the same. Okay, and the next one is I'll change say nothing to you say nothing. Okay, so come back into this. We've got array here, dot dot dot, which leads to ID number 3. No, 5. There, you say nothing. Okay, so those are the 2 responses off that. Now, get the torch, you're going to need it. So let's add a dialogue choice on that one of number 6. And that leads to dialogue 6. Shouldn't swap dialogue tables. Change some of the text to make it a bit more descriptive. Sneeze. Okay. Okay, so I'm using a lot of local colloquialisms. Okay, I know my voice sounds all like, "Hey, what a posh man," but you know, colloquialisms are very important. Okay, so let's see if this is going to work for us now. So I'll have to turn on my high speed just to get over that. Because of course yakety sax and the circus theme tune are ideal horror music accompaniments for idiots and maniacs and psychopaths.
Welcome to the Rock. Your first time here.
Okay, so I don't think what's happening is leading to the choice properly. So, can lead to choices. There we go. Save. Let's check this one. Can lead to choices again. And this one. Good lad. See you at the house. Isn't leading to any choices. And it ends. Okay, so let's see if we can like make this feckin' conversation end at last. And then I need to do some tweaks to the NPC itself. There we go.
Welcome to the Rock. Your first time here. She's a beautiful woman.
Okay, so I'm noticing that the lead-on's not working. You can tell it's been a while since I've used these. Okay, player speaking, line doesn't lead to a choice. Leads to ID. I'm really having a balls of a time getting my system working, aren't I? Which is weird, because it shouldn't be that difficult to make this one work. I was getting it working without a problem. Right. Sailors dancing in the dance floor. So look at this sailors dialogue. Let's see. Let's just change these then. Ka-choink, ka-choink. Alright, so thank you. We'll lead you to option 2 now. Then nothing will lead you to option 3. On option 2. Lead you to option 3. There we go. God almighty, it's been far too long since I've used this system. Play from here.
Young, get the welcomes to go. Just first time here, she's a beaut. Round the pump with diesel, then run up and start the journey. Good lad. See you at the house. Young. Good welcome to the see you at the house.
Okay, so we've got some overlap there. I need to stop audio or keep them locked in. Get rid of these 3. Yeah. Okay. Now then, this is my BPC I'm using here, interactive, so I need to change this a little bit now to do some additional stuff that it doesn't currently do, because you see it's fairly basic. Let's open her up, and inside here you'll notice, oh, not a lot going on. Now I can call vanish when I'm done, which will be handy for the destroyer actor, but I think what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to do something else a little bit more complicated, so we'll come to that soon. Construction script is important. Event graph. Okay, so these are the interaction events. Hey bud, how's your run going?
I'm out of green.
You've ran out?
Yeah.
How much did you get done?
There's only one more left.
Nice. We'll get some more. I don't know if I can afford it today or not, because a massive bills just came out, but I'll see what I can do, okay?
No, that's fine. I mean, as long as we've got the money to mail something that good.
Oh yeah, we can do that later. Right, I'm going to get back to this.
What time do you think we'll head out?
I really don't know, Dom.
By the way, what do I do with this?
What? Have you washed it out?
No.
Okay, so wash it out carefully to get rid of all the green paint in the bath on a slow water. That way it won't splash up, okay? And make sure you wash all the paint away.
What about this?
If it's empty,
There's a tiny bit left.
well, put it somewhere safe for the minute, just so it doesn't spill. Okay, so the tick system is what I'm going to be abusing, and for this I will need
Once my room's dry, I'll build my bed.
Good man. as you can see, this one was much more complicated. And this is what I'm interested in, this bit here. So, I'm just going to copy this to make it easier for myself. Because I already made it ages ago and tested it with the old system, so this will be the new system. Dismiss. Now down here, let's have a look at my things I've got. Right, utilities, that's where my NPC material is under default. Don't want it under default, so NPC control. So now that's under, hopefully, a subheading called NPC control, and if I hit compile, there it is there, NPC control. Okay, next, under NPC control I'm going to add a new setting on this, which is not going to be default, otherwise it will really screw things up. So, variables, add. Okay, and this will be auto rotate to player, which should be visible. Compile and save. Okay, and under category I'm going to set this to NPC control. Okay, so its default is off, and if we hit just compile and save, you can see it's there now, auto rotate to player. Okay, so what I need to do with this is I shouldn't have a tick event. No, I haven't. Good. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that any ticks I use are delayed to about 0.1 of a second. That way it's not going to be happening all the flipping time. And I can tweak that as I need to. So it's going to go jud, 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 which is fine. Okay, juddering's fine. Next, I want to get my viewport. What's my character on? Standee. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to rotate the standee only. Interestingly, I've called it that a few times. So standee, get world location. Okay, so now I know exactly where this is. I'm also going to do a get actor location, and for that I want to know my own location, so I'm going to get player pawn. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's going to constantly look for me. Now I'm going to find its lookout rotation. Between there and there. Okay, and that gives me a return value, which I can then put into to set world rotation. So I'm going to move these down a little bit so they're out of the way, because this is just a calculation at the moment that I need. So let's put these down here. I'm a lot tidier now with my blueprints than I used to be, which is nice. Why are you reading C++ symbols? Please don't. I don't need anything loading. Okay, there and there. There. Okay, so find lookout rotation. Now I'm going to get my default scene route. Yoink. And with this, I am going to set my world rotation. I don't need to set its location. That is extremely not what I want. So after delay, that will go in there, and its new rotation, I will split structural pin. Split my structural pin here, and usually I have to normalize it by 90, so I'll use an add, an add, float plus float, and this will just act as my correctional value, so minus 90. Okay, compile and save. Now, at the minute, this is just going to run constantly, okay, so there's no on and off in this yet. I just want to see if this is going to follow me. Play from here. Yep, that is working. So he is now following me no matter how fast I wander, which is really useful if you want, you know, a character that's doing that. Next, we need to select whether or not we've enabled it, however. So, close that down, come to this one. So here's our event tick. Let's bring that up there. And here's my delay just to slow down my tick. And I'm going to read auto rotate to player. Get the value of auto rotate to player. I'm going to make a branch. Okay, so now if this is true, what's going to happen is this will rotate. Compile and save. Grand. Okay, so next. What I want to do is test this to make sure in 2 different scenarios it's working. So play from here, and at the minute it shouldn't do anything. So I can use it, but it won't rotate. You can see that it isn't rotating. Grand. Okay, it's much more useful for this because obviously it lets you know the character's kind of focusing entirely on you. Now, dismiss, dismiss. If I come down here and auto rotate to player, you can see now he is following me wherever I go. Grand. Okay. Next, what I want to do is I want to make a sync animation. So I already have an event tick here. I'm just going to separate out my event tick just in case I need anything else to come off this, and put this inside a comment box. So I've got caps lock on. Should the NPC rotate to follow the player? I'll just straighten that up because of course I'm going to. Okay, so compile and save. So now we have 2 settings on this, yes and no. It makes things considerably easier. Okay, next. What I can do is call an event at the end. So if I'm using this dialogue table, which I was, I'll just open that as well, just to bring it up here. Let me go back to my dialogue table I was using, which is just here for Malin. Hello Malin. Open that up. Now what I can do is, good lad, see at the hoose, I can trigger an event, and the event I can trigger should be after the dialogue ends. A trigger event name, vanish. Okay, so what it's going to do now is it's going to look for a custom function. Okay, and then it's going to do it. This value represents whether or not the dialogue widget should show up after the trigger event name function is finished, or should it keep going while the event is going. Well, let's see how it does. Okay, so let's go back to my NPC interactive just here. And what I need to do now is just expand on this. So I should have an event graph. That's right. Okay, so vanish. So we can have a few different versions of vanish as well, which is kind of helpful. Bam, 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 bam. There's vanish there, curiously enough, and at the minute it'll just destroy actor. So what I can also do is I can choose to make my actor sync if I prefer. So I want to get default scene route. And with my default scene route, I want to do a timeline. So let's see, I'll just pull off a thing from here to a branch. I can go to tree. And down here I can go into timeline. Oh, I don't think it's going to let me do a timeline on this. No, it is not. Doggo. And it probably doesn't allow me to in this, which is a shame. Okay, so in that case what I'll do is I'll just do a simple loop. Why not? Okay, so right click and I'll turn back on context sensitive. For each loop. No, for each actually, I want a for loop. No break. Okay, so first index 0, last index, let's say, Christ knows, I don't know, 2000, right? Loop body. So on loop body, I'm going to take my default scene route and set get location. So here we are, I'm going to get its location in world space, and then find my return value here, which I should be able to split. Take my Z off, minus it by 1. Then I'm going to set world location. Split, structural pin. Give that the new location is Z. And in my loop body here, I'm just going to go to that. Next, I'm going to add sync or vanish. So variable npc sync after dialog. Turn that on or off. Just add it to the npc controls. Compile, save. Right, so I'm not going to set that to there by default. Get the value of it, put it into there. Right, so if it's true, let's just reverse these bloody things. Okay, and that gives us this function here, which I'll just tidy up. Synced. Well, I don't need to do anything once it's sunk, except probably destroy actor. So let's see if it does sync, however. So selecting this my dude here. Do I not compile it? NPC sync after dialogue. Hang on a minute. I'm using. Oh, Jesus. This is NPC interactive, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So I should. It should be under NPC control. Bizarre. Okay, that is NPC sync after, which is just under NPC control here. So we've got two NPC controls for some reason. Okay, so if we do this, let's see what happens. Get ready for either mad success or major disappointment. It would also help if in the DT table I'd put the Malin sinks. So after 3, vanish. Good. Okay. Make sure to have.
Good luck. Welcome to the sea of your first time.
Okay, so he sank, but it was very, 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 very fast, which is great, but don't want it that fast now, so let's bring it down. So what I need to do is add a tick to this, or delay, or whatever. Now I don't know if I can do a delay inside of a for loop. I don't think I can because it hates it. Yeah, I thought as much. So you see, it would be more ideal for me if I could just move this down without him just doing that. But it's going to happen too fast. And I don't want to choke the system either. Right. No, I didn't do a timer either. Tricksy. It'd be useful, obviously, a pause between these, otherwise it's just going to go pop. Macro. A macro is what is needed here, because I can do it in a macro. So, macro, plop. Inside my new macro. I can run a delay of, let's say, 0.01. And I'll call my macro delay tool. Compile, save. Okay, so I've got an input and output for that, which is a help. So now if I go to my vanish tool, drag out my bollocks. Can't do that then. It won't let me do it with a latent function in a function graph. So it's obviously picked up on the fact that I want to delay things. Used to be that you could do that as well. I presume that it does something terrible to the system if I do. Okay, so sweep move over time. See if we can do that instead. So I'm just going to move my destroy actor over here. Okay, I'm not going to teleport because teleporting doesn't work very well. Hang on, there's a cat. You go out, Jim. Come on. I'm back. Hello. So, fortunately, there's some really good manuals online, and I intend to use them. Okay. Let's have a look, because you know we all need to look at the manuals. Interesting. Feck it. I am not going to spend forever doing this. Yeah. Instead, what might be useful is to do a Mr. Ben. And if you don't know what a Mr. Ben is, then, you know, sorry guys. A Mr. Ben is a good way of doing things. So what I'm going to do is look for a particle system that is suitable. And as you can see, I've got a few. I don't need all the bird ones. Or steam for that matter. This material I'm using, is it just the basic one still? Do I have the ability to adjust opacity mask over time? It would appear the answer to that is yes. Interesting. Because if I go into this material now, and just have a look and see what parameters I have. Accessible. I'm pretty sure I did used to have this system working. So that's a value, that's time input data. It's the size of my fade going to a parameter system. Let's find that. So there's my parameter system. This is the old system as well, so let's open it up. I don't even know if this works anymore. Okay, it works. Okay, so we can ease this back. Or not, 1.85. This is controlled by something called size of fade. So, what I could do then is adjust it over time. Eesh. So if I go back to my NPC interactive, just here, and drag in my param. Right, so set scalar. Is it scalar? Yep, so set scalar. Set scalar parameter value on material for stand E. Stop doing that. The parameter name is size of fade. Beashty boo. Let's get these over What I'll do is I'll just set it to 1, so it should par do it.
Welcome to the sea at the house. Your first time here. She's a beautiful.
I think I'll just kill it using that then. Because this is going to be a pain in the arse for an effect that is, in essence, not that big. So. And it was a very, very complicated computational system, as they say. Don't get me wrong, it was nice at the time, but it's not that nice. Okay, compile and save. Play from here. Yes, I hear you.
Young. Good luck. Welcome to the sea at the house. Your first time here. She's a beautiful welcome.
Cool. Spare torch just in case. Cute. Alright, looks like it. I'll tweak the light because it is very dark here. Otherwise, that's going to happen. Too much fall damage. Probably have to adjust the fall damage as well, but I'll tweak that soon. Right. Back to Eland. There it is. Okay, so next. The lighting definitely needs a little bit of something because it's so feckin' dark. Save all. My God, look at that. It'll take a moment. Okay, so punk, and speed down. Okay, so let's get to Malin over here, dropping a few shadows. Sign. Should have a sign. There it is. Signpost. Okay, go up here and over here we're going to have flipping. Gondola lift needs a few less spaces. There we go, gondola lift. Okay, now those writings are very, very, very clean. But, you know what, sometimes you need some clear direction, I suppose. stick it there so you can see it. And then down here. Like that. Don't like floating mesh, so see, when you first start blocking out these levels, it's all too easy to kind of go, right, yes, cool, and then never test it again. So what I want to do is just make sure that this is looking as good as possible and not looking confusing. See, so there, that works better. Now I'll take a copy of this rock, put it here and just rotate it, and it'll automatically change its mapping, remember, because of the way the material is. There, so now that follows on nicely. Big flippin' cyclopean steps, like, I didn't realise they were that quick, that big. Okay, and behind this I'll put a signpost again. And key. Generator, so we know roughly where we're supposed to be going. That's the purpose of these lights, really, is to kind of show us things like that. And let's take our little rocks on a walk. I can hear what sounds suspiciously like someone singing at one of my dogs, which can only mean that the one we know only is Octopink, my beautiful wife, is, that wasn't sarcasm by the way, she really is awake. So okay, so now we've got a little bit more kind of less likelihood of dying there. Save all and save selected. And times it 1/4 nearly. Good stream, enjoying it so far. Got plenty done. Let me just check and see if I've got a message saying bring me coffee, because she certainly knows how to use. Oh, I bet that is. What do you reckon? Love it. Love it. Hey. Right, so I've got the character nearly ready for Bill. My artist has just sent me the thing. Would you like to see how Bill looks? I bet you would. So there's Bill coming in. That's a rough so far, but obviously it will be heavily tidied. Next to Malin for reference and height. My artist is incredibly talented and incredibly neurotic, bless her. Right. Come down here. These lights are really doing the biz for me. Lots of lovely illumination going on. might actually attach this rock to the blueprint so that it's automatically going to base itself, and then add some like random rotation to it just to give it a little bit of variation, but I shall see. It does do a lovely job. The shadows and everything are just highlighting it really nicely in my most humble opinion. Now then, the defaults, 8400, just turn those up. I think what I'll do is I'll probably just go into this and just change the default to 8400. Here we go. And that, there we go, now gives us these little pools of beautiful golden light. Lovely, and much more visible. So you can kind of get a much better idea now of where it is you're supposed to be and what it is you're supposed to be doing using these, whereas you couldn't before, and they're really outlining things much nicer. I like that. Okay, so I did say that I would add the thing in underneath it for those what need it. I think it could be useful. Yeah, it makes it much more cozy looking, and certainly plays a lot more on the what do you call it? The God. This will come to me in time. Yeah, the closeness of everything that's going on. Okay, I'm going to build a new outdoor lamp, so I'm going to get a rock base on this one. Okay, get my viewport, and what I want basically is just to be a bit cheating. We'll grab that. Find it in my assets. And this is an old Megascan rock, really, really good one as well. Would you like a coffee? Is that you'd like a coffee or not? I can't hear you. Right, I do not know, but probably thorn, so I'll go and get them in a second. One moment. Game dev and streaming. Just 1 second, I'm nearly done. Okay, I'm done. Okay, so anyone who's been watching the stream, thank you for hanging out with me. I'm sorry if I didn't see